So I scheduled my flight. She told me that the boys were not available, and so I had to cancel my flight, and I lost money on my flight. I tried to schedule again with Miss O'Rourke, and this has been an ongoing situation where Miss O'Rourke makes it as difficult as possible for me to have access to our boys.
DM 309, Benjamin Bravo Hernandez appears on his own Zoom, as does Monica Bravo, who also appears by Zoom audio visual. This matter comes before the court at this time, really for the first time, for substantive matters concerning the Kansas case. The court will note that following a series of proceedings under the UCC JEA, the judge in California, Judge Glenda Ellen Hill, conducted a hearing, made determinations that California was an inconvenient forum to maintain child custody jurisdiction, and in essence transferred child custody jurisdiction to this Kansas court case. This has been documented by a journal entry prepared by this court, which I trust each party received. Benjamin? All right. So the matter comes before the court, the Kansas court at this time, essentially to determine if there are controversies which exist between the parties. And I will preface that by saying that there was a trial in California relatively recently, in fact, this summer, that resolved many child custody and parenting time issues in the case. So following that trial and determination, is there anything currently before the court that needs to be addressed? I'll ask Monica first.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am requesting a review of the orders of the visitation orders that were placed in effect in June from California, primarily because for 2 points, they have the children flying to California 12 times a year, which I believe is not in the children's best interest and would be very disruptive to their lives here. Additionally, the order was based off of California school schedules, and as it is written, it would require the children to be in California and miss well over a month of school, and I do not believe it is in the best interest of the children. As such, I would like to have the current orders reviewed for their appropriateness based on the factors that are present in Kansas.
All right.
That were not taken into consideration in California.
All right. California obviously has a different school schedule. What type of educational programs are each of the two, I think it's both sons from this relationship, what are they currently in?
The 11-year-old is a 6th grader at Andover Central Middle School. The 13-year-old is an 8th grader at Andover Academy Middle School.
Explain what Andover Academy is.
Andover Academy is a hybrid program where he does a portion of his schooling online and a portion in person. They have a campus in Andover.
How often is he in person?
Usually twice a week. It depends. Sometimes once a week. It depends on the school schedule.
So does someone other than you or him determine when he goes to the school building for attendance?
Yeah, they have a set schedule. It's not a just whenever you show up.
Okay. Did Benjamin approve this school attendance of these two boys? Benjamin?
Say that again?
Did you approve the types of school programs these kids are in?
I didn't have a choice at the time. That was my ex's decision to place them in those schools.
Was it discussed with you?
Huh?
What was it? Did she discuss it with you?
No, she didn't discuss it with me. No.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me just ask you then, are you opposed to that type of school program for these two boys continuing?
Actually, before we started all these court hearings. My boys used to be homeschooled. Uh, so, um, but as I understand it, Ben gets to decide when he goes to school. When I went to visit Andover E Academy, they told me that it was up to him whether he wanted to show up to school or not. But it was all based off of he could do it from home if he wanted to do most of his work. Sam definitely has to go to school.
All right, I'm looking at the California order, and folks, you should just know that because the most recent California custody and parenting time decree has been filed in the Kansas case, no further transfer of documents need to take place. I have the current order to be enforced and or modified by the Kansas court. But for now, whatever the current California custody and parenting time order is, that's what the order is in the case that you're to follow. It does, at least at first glance, appear to be inconsistent with traditional school attendance in Kansas. It actually calls for a period of weekend visits to take place, and I'll ask, there were to be 2 weekend visits. Okay, phase 3 is what I guess I'm looking at. Upon the completion of 3 full weekend visitation Friday to Sunday, how many of those have taken place, Monica?
He has completed 4 of the 5 required visitations for phases 1 and 2. He completed phase 1, which was 2 visitations. He's completed 2 of the 3 for phase 2. The process began in January. So he was assigned to visit January, February, March, April, and May. He visited January, February, and March, as those were during the hearing in January. I raised significant concerns regarding the ability to come to an agreement and schedule visitations. As such, the judge scheduled January, February, and March visitations on our behalf, and he attended those. I attempted to schedule visitations in April and May. He did not come during the month of April, did not come during the month of May, did not come during the month of June. He reached out to schedule visitation in July and August. We confirmed a visitation in July that was completed. No visitation since then has been confirmed. I have given him multiple weekends that the children are available for visitation in August, September, and October, but there has not been a confirmation of visitation. He requested a weekend in August to visit, and I had 3 weeks prior to his request, I had let him know that the children would not be available for visitation that weekend, as we already had travel plans for that weekend. And he chose to come to Kansas anyways, but I had let him know 3 weeks prior to his request that we would not be available for visitation that weekend. So there is still 1 more visitation left to complete for phase 2, prior to phase 3 being enacted.
All right. Benjamin, what would your response be to Monica's statements?
Yeah. So when this whole situation actually took place, I tried to schedule my flight. Obviously, it's kind of difficult scheduling flight, taking time from work, scheduling with Monica. Monica will give me certain times that she's available. That doesn't necessarily work with my work schedule. And so, it's kind of hard to, kind of difficult to schedule with Mr. O'Rourke. I actually scheduled a flight, I think it was like January 2025. And after the court initially it gave us the court hearing, or gave us the custody order, so I scheduled my flight. She told me that the boys were not available, and so I had to cancel my flight, and I lost money on my flight. Then I scheduled a few more times, and then I thought I had completed what I believed to have completed the number of visits. And then we went before the court hearing or the court, and the judge told me that I had to schedule two more, which I did. I think one was in June, and then the next one that I did, I tried to schedule again with Miss O'Rourke. It's like the court initially, when they gave us the paperwork, they just said that I had to give Miss O'Rourke a 48-hour notice ahead of time so that she could make adjustments to the schedule so that I could to make the boys available since I'm the one that's traveling out to Kansas. And I told Miss O'Rourke that this was the only time that I had available from work. So I took the time, I scheduled my flight, and I went out there and tried to see my kids. But this has been an ongoing situation.
So tell me what happened when you got here. This was in
So
August,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I actually have an Andover police report from the Andover Police Department stating that I tried to see my kids on that day. I tried to schedule with the visitation site. They said that Miss O'Rourke was not going to make the boys available for the visit. And again, I tried to reach out to Miss O'Rourke various times, but she wouldn't. And I think, to be honest with you, it's my belief that she was waiting for the Kansas court to take over this custody situation to change the terms of my visits. And this has been an ongoing situation where Ms. O'Rourke makes it as difficult as possible for me to have access to our boys. There's no reason why she shouldn't have made the boys available. As to it was my understanding that they went to Dallas. They drove to Dallas because the boys shared that they had gone to Dallas to visit her family. In my opinion, if it was Miss O'Rourke and the other in my shoes, I would not have taken my boys to go visit extended family as opposed to spending time with Miss O'Rourke if she was in my shoes. And I think it's more important for the boys to be able to see their father and to see their mother. And I keep on trying. I keep on running into walls with Miss O'Rourke because we just don't. She doesn't work with me. She doesn't work with me at all, hardly, except for the Zoom call. She'll adjust those times once in a while.
All right. In determining that Mr. Bravo Hernandez has one more of these weekend visits to complete before the boys go to California, you did not count his visit here in August. Is that correct, Monica?
To answer your question directly, he did not see the children in August. I had notified him on June 1st that we were traveling that we would be out of town. I didn't say we were going to Texas, but I notified him on June 1st that the children would not be available for the visit in August. He requested on June 21st to visit during the weekend that I had already 3 weeks previously told him we would not be in town. His decision to come to Kansas was his decision to come to Kansas, but I had notified him 2.5 months earlier that we would not be available for that visit, as that was a visit that I had scheduled with extended family that we had been trying to schedule and calendar since the previous February.
Why was it so difficult to schedule that Dallas visit?
My cousin has 6 kids and a very full life. I have the 2 kids in soccer. And so getting our schedules to align for like a family get together is very, very, very difficult. That's why we had that particular weekend, and it was the only weekend. Otherwise I would have rescheduled it. I would have happily rescheduled it, but it was the only weekend that we had available. Like I said, we'd been trying to schedule since February. And if we didn't go that weekend, we probably wouldn't have been able to visit this year at all. And I had explicitly told him on June 1st, these are the weekends that were available. I gave him 4 different weekends. And he said, well, those won't work with my work schedule. So I gave him 5 additional weekends that we could be available. So I gave him a total of 9 weekends to choose from. And I have a hard time believing that out of 9 weekends, none of those would work for his work schedule. Going back to the visit in January, and I am concerned, and this is part of my concern where I don't know exactly what it's called in Kansas, an evidentiary hearing, I think is the name of it, where I can present documents to you to substantiate facts, in that Mr. Bravo stated that in January of 2025, he stated that he didn't visit. I have the documentation from the visitation exchange place that he did indeed visit in January of 2025. The hearing was on January 15th of 2025. The judge scheduled the visitation a week and a half later, and he was able to get off work just fine to complete that visit in a very short notice. So I have a hard time believing that, given 9 weekends over the course of 3 months, that there wasn't one weekend that he couldn't visit the kids alternate to that weekend, instead of and additionally, the 48-hour notice is not in the court order either. It is a 30-day notice that was written as the court order. Additionally, we do communicate exclusively via Talking Parents, the Talking Parents app. I'm not sure if this court uses that as a co-parenting tool, but it is so all of these conversations and the communications regarding visitations are documented through that app. So the evidence is present that states that I've given him multiple options for visitation. I am not trying to keep him from visiting his sons. I am definitely trying to work with him. And also, I believe that it's reasonable that I not be required to cancel travel plans with family that we've been trying to get done for 6 months when there were other weekends available.
All right. First of all, Benjamin, if you were notified 2 months in advance that there was a conflict on that particular weekend in August, I would have expected you to work with Monica on that and reschedule to a different weekend in August.
Your Honor.
Okay, you don't need to respond. I'm just telling you what my point of view would be on that. But with that said, Monica, Dad has painfully little time with his boys. And I don't know what his scheduling considerations are in trying to get free to come to Kansas, but he's the one that's making the effort to come here. Dad is going to win out over visitation with any other person virtually every time. And you should have changed your Dallas travel plans to accommodate him. But that's water under the bridge. The bottom line is here, Benjamin, I'm going to consider that since you made a good faith effort to visit the boys in August, that is one of your weekends that was contemplated by the California order. You don't have to make it up. Now, I realize you didn't get time with your boys. That's not what I'm saying here. But as far as the requirements, you've met that requirement. And I think Monica conceded that you had completed 4 of the 5, not including that. So now you've got 5 out of 5. So where do we go from here? In looking at the California order, it does not reconcile with a Kansas school schedule. I don't want at least the 11-year-old to have his entire educational program disrupted by this visitation plan that California put in place, apparently based on an entirely different, perhaps even a year-round school schedule. So the court's going to put a stay on the implementation of that portion of the order, which apparently called children shall reside with the father on odd numbered months, commencing on Friday at 6 and concluding on Sunday at 6. I'm not
That's
exactly
because
sure what that means. Is that
Your Honor,
meant to just be a weekend?
I'd like to chime in.
Go ahead.
It's because when I put in my request for the order, the boys were they were being like in a program like what Ben's in right now. So they were it was more like a flexible type situation, but obviously the school situation has changed, and Sam is in schooling himself, so it is kind of a little bit difficult.
Okay, and then Benjamin, it's contemplated that you pay for these plane rides for your sons to come out to California.
No, we're supposed to split the cost of
Is that in the order?
yeah, it should be in the order where we split the cost of the ticket and travel cost.
What does it cost to fly those boys to California and back?
If we get them ahead of time, it probably costs about $700 to $800 round trip for each one.
Yeah, I see
Your Honor,
that clause, paragraph 6.11.
it's actually more because we either have to pay for 3 plane tickets for either I have to fly with them or they have to travel as unaccompanied minors, which almost doubles the price of the ticket. So the tickets are closer to $1,000 each as an unaccompanied minor, or 3 plane tickets at approximately $700, which equates to it's kind of a wash either way.
Okay. Benjamin, despite the court's earlier order, have you already made plans to come back to Kansas for a visit?
Yeah, I had talked to Ben and Sam yesterday, and I was looking at the month of October to come visit the boys to take them to a Chiefs game. Hopefully, I can do that. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can come out there at the end of October to see if I can visit with them. So
Your
it
Honor,
is,
nothing has been communicated to me regarding any travel plans at all. And I am also still going to request a 30-day advance, like, notice, because the boys are both involved in multiple soccer leagues and working now.
And I can take them to the soccer leagues when I am there, so it's not a big issue.
They would play on Saturday morning, I presume, or Saturday afternoon.
Right. Yeah, I've been to their games too.
Well, some of the league play is actually out of town. So that's where it gets tricky. Again, I'm totally willing to work with him, and he's, absolutely has already been involved in their participation in soccer. And I think it's really healthy for the boys that when he's able to come to Kansas and he's able to support them here in the things that they love and that they're involved in, it's really good for them. I just want to make sure that the request, that we don't have a repeat of, I understand what you're saying about changing travel plans with family. Also, if I were to ask the kids to miss an entire tournament weekend out of town to accommodate visitation, that would be devastating to them.
All right. Does Benjamin have their soccer schedule?
No.
Monica, send it to him. Email it to him.
Okay.
That way he's aware
it's a combination of multiple places. So yeah, there's not one place to access that, but I can send it. Also note that it changes regularly. I will note that it changes regularly. I just got a message yesterday from the oldest child's coach, requesting additional games and changing the schedule for this weekend. And just 30 minutes ago, I got a message from the youngest child's coach changing his schedule for this weekend as well. So just to note that the schedule changes a lot pretty regularly.
Hey, Your Honor, I also wanted to bring something before the court. Um, I am trying to get access to the boys' school records and attendance. And the last time I visited Kansas, I did go up to Sam's school, and I talked to the school principal. I showed her the custody order, and basically she told me that she was not going to provide any of that information, and that she was going to contact law enforcement because she needed them to review the order to make sure it was legit. Apparently, somebody put some thoughts in their head, and this week I followed up. Actually, I followed up like 2 times already with the school district to see why I haven't had access to Sam's school grades and attendance and stuff. And the principal at the school is refusing to provide me with the same access that Mr. O'Rourke has. Um, I think I don't know what Mr. O'Rourke is telling them, but it feels like it seems like what they're operating off of is the idea that there's still a restraining order out there, but there isn't a restraining order, and Mr. O'Rourke is not protected. The kids are not protected. Uh, and that's why I went up to the school and I showed him the custody order, and it says that I have access to be able to view my son's school grades and any of his school reports and stuff. But I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if the custody order the language needs to be changed up or what.
Do you know what paragraph of your California order you're referring to that
Yeah,
grants you this information?
right.
You have that in front of you?
No, I don't have it in front of me, but I do remember it.
Well, Mr. Bravo Hernandez, this court has no intention of limiting your access to their educational records. You have every right to those.
Right. Yeah, I think the school system believes that there might be a restraining order or something. I'm not really sure if Mr. O'Rourke shared that with them, but from the way the principal reacted to me when I showed her the paperwork, and it seemed like almost like they were trying to protect mom and protect the kids from me, which that should not be the case because there's never been any violence when it came to like a criminal act or there was a restraining order. I get that, but that's through the family court and that's a little bit different. Um, and I'm not really sure what occurred or who told what to the school principal, but she definitely is not very interested in working with me.
Hmm.
I
Well,
have
there are a lot
given,
of messy situations they have to deal with, Mr. Bravo Hernandez. Certainly, this
Yeah,
isn't the only case where interpretation of court orders is involved. And when you try to present a California decree to a Kansas educational institution, I'm sure they're first just going to kind of be resistant. We
yeah,
often run into this situation when Kansas orders are being enforced in other states. They generally just want to see some sort of localized order.
right. So I
Uh,
actually got two different reactions because one school principal from Ben's school, that school principal, that staff over there, took the paperwork, made a copy, and then granted me access to the information. And then the other school, so I have access to Ben's school grades and his information, but I don't have access to Sam's school, which is kind of weird to me, but it is what it is. I'll keep trying.
hmm. What weekend in October were you contemplating you would take the boys to a Chiefs game?
Yeah, I had to look at the schedule, but I wanted to do it like late October because obviously I have to, with my employer, I have to put in 30 days in advance in order to get time off. And so that kind of convolutes things too as well. So
Well, if
But
the
yeah,
boys have a soccer event, you may want to just ask them if they'd rather go to a Chiefs game than participate on their soccer team, which very well may be
right.
counting on them to play. But
Yeah, I'm pretty
that's
flexible. I'm
to
not.
me that's a great father-son experience potentially, Mr.
Yeah,
Bravo. I would
absolutely.
support it. I would expect you to take him to a game that the Chiefs win. I don't want them traumatized by a Chiefs loss if they go sit in person.
They actually became Chiefs fans all of a sudden.
Well, as they should. It's kind of our local team here in Kansas.
Right. Yeah, people cheer them.
With that said, Mr. Bravo, the court certainly supports you coming in October. In fact, I think that's a great plan for the immediate future. I do note that you have a winter break division order, which would give you extended time in California, the boys, over the
Yeah,
winter break, which traditionally we call the Christmas break.
right,
Apparently in California, that's called the winter break.
right,
But apparently there's a division of that period each year, first half, second half type of thing, if I recall.
right.
Obviously, the court would expect that that would take place, that you could get extended time somewhere in that neighborhood of time around Christmas that you could spend with you and your family out there in California, Mr. Bravo.
Yeah,
But what the court would really envision for now is this October visit. Whether you're going to soccer tournaments around here or you're taking the kids to a Chiefs game, that seems to be the best plan. But you need to get that date locked in and give Monica notice of it, and then the court will expect her to comply with it.
right.
Um, and again,
So
go
as
ahead.
far as because I think they had talked about splitting the. I don't remember if it was splitting Thanksgiving or like getting some time at Thanksgiving.
Well, I looked at that and as I thought that the odd numbered years were Monica's, but let me look at that. The holiday will be with the mother during odd numbered years, and
Okay.
2025 is an odd numbered years. So
Okay.
Thanksgiving would appear, according to the California order, to be Monica's period. And the next
I
set
wouldn't get
time will
them until
be
December.
winter break.
Correct. So I wouldn't see them again until December. Is that what you're saying, George?
Well, with Thanksgiving being hers this year, I mean, I, this court really doesn't want to limit you coming out here. If you want to come here where it won't disrupt the kids' school, you have some pretty liberal permission from this court to come. Of course, you
Yeah,
always
it's
need
just
to let Monica know you're coming.
right. Yeah, it's just my days off are during the week, so it makes it a little tougher because obviously there's limitations to vacation time. Uh, but um, I would definitely love to see my kids during the breaks. I don't know if the court can adjust like the 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 schedule itself because if we're not going to be doing the every other month thing like that custody thing had stated, at least I should be able to get the kids during the breaks that they have. Um, like Christmas, spring break, because obviously mom hasn't. She's living in Kansas, so it's going to be a little difficult trying to see the boys and not have access to them. I don't know if the
You have winter break each year, so you
right,
have at least some period in there. Schools
right,
take off way too long for winter break, in my opinion, but in a custody and visitation situation, it works out well because it allows extended time for both parents, given the
right.
length of the break. So you have that in December, according to the existing order.
And I
Would
think there's
Monica
something
be
about spring
inclined
break.
to allow the father to have Thanksgiving break this year?
I would request that I request two things that since the um since he is able to get off work during the week, that he use his days off over the Thanksgiving break to be able to come out here without having to take work off to visit the kids here during Thanksgiving, so that they continue to maintain their normal lives and lives with their peers and involvement in soccer mainly. Historically, there's a soccer camp over Thanksgiving break that occurs every year that they would miss out on. Additionally, I need to look at the soccer schedule because it occurs to me that I think they have an out-of-town tournament that weekend as well, but I would have to look. So I would request that the visit happen here, since he could take the weekdays that he has off and see the kids, since they wouldn't have school, and then and then still be able to be involved with their lives here.
All right. Bravo, I think she's trying to make an accommodation here. As far as the kids going to California on her Thanksgiving year, she essentially doesn't want to allow that. But apparently, if you want to come to Kansas again in November, she would share time with you during that break. So that's a reasonable accommodation, since it is, according to the California court order, her year. She doesn't have to allow any of it. So I think that's something you should at least consider. But I do want to make it clear that the winter break, it's contemplated that you can take the kids to California, Mr. Bravo.
Right.
Now, I realize it's December, but December will be here before you know it.
Yeah.
It really will. So plans should be set in place as quickly as you can regarding flights. And you got to look at how the spring or the winter break falls, because it's tied very definitely to the last day they're in school and then the day they resume. So and then there's a middle, they contemplate that there's a middle day in the center of that. So you two are going to need to work out exactly what half constitutes what days. Okay, and the order says,
I think that's one of the toughest things right now, is to try to work out anything with this.
well, but you can, and you're going to need to.
I have tried. I've been doing this for since 2018, and we haven't really come to too many agreements. So
The first part of the winter break is with the mother this year. The second part of that is yours, Mr. Bravo.
probably that.
So what you really need is an Andover Central School calendar.
Yeah, I'll get one.
Okay. Then you can determine what the first day of the break is and what the day that they resume school again. Okay. And then somewhere right in the middle, that's when you make the transfer, the exchange. Now you two can work out something different. We can be more liberal with Mr. Bravo, but I want to make sure he has at a minimum what's guaranteed him in section 4.03 of the order, which is a full half of the winter break. And then you can maybe plan flights accordingly, Mr. Bravo.
Right.
And at 13 and 11, I've flown enough to know that there are kids much younger than these two that fly on their own successfully. They may have a little bit of airline guidance, but
the airline legally requires them to have accompaniment. Like, I already looked into flights, and I think the age limit is 14 or 15 years. I think it's 15. 14 and under is required to fly as an unaccompanied minor and required to pay the extra fee. Additionally, just considering numerous factors, the order provides that either they fly as an unaccompanied minor and pay the additional fee, or an adult accompanies them. So as such, being Christmas break, I would fly out there with them and then expect that we would split the cost of those flights as stated in the order.
So Bravo,
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
The it is pretty pricey for me. I do pay like $1,300 in child support every month, so uh, somehow or another I have to figure out a way to do the cost of the ticket, but it should be fine, hopefully.
Well, that consideration was something that I raised to California in that I actually calculated how much the order would cost for the children flying out to California versus having Mr. Bravo visit them here, and the cost was approximately half if Mr. Bravo visits them here versus the kids flying out to California, and that includes the cost of his hotel and car rentals.
Okay. That very well may be, but they need to spend some California time with California family because you do have some extended family out there, don't you, Mr. Bravo?
Yeah, my most of my family is raised that in Sam from like the early years and stuff,
And
so
I assume they want to see these boys.
absolutely they do.
Okay.
They really enjoy being around them and stuff.
Well, I would like to implement as much of the existing California order, which is feasible under the circumstances, and the court intends to enforce the winter break provisions as written, at least for now. Let's try it this year and see how it works.
Copy that.
All right, what else do we need to address, Monica?
Um, just to clarify, currently there's a stay on phase 3 of the order, and um, with the exception of winter break being in California, and the option for Mr. Bravo to visit a weekend in October. I took a quick glance at the schedule, and I'm pretty sure the only weekend that would be available would be that last weekend of October, as the kids have tournaments and out of town stuff. I can double check and I will confirm with him, but I'm pretty sure it's that last weekend of October is the only one available. And that I also gave the option if he would choose to visit like on his days off, which I believe are like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, according to the kids, I think, during Thanksgiving here as well. Do I have all of that correct?
Yeah, he's supposed to get 48 hours continuously during his visits.
Correct.
So I
Yes.
don't care if that's Tuesday to Thursday, Monday to Wednesday, or Friday to
Okay.
Sunday. As
Okay.
long as Mr. Bravo gets his time, whatever
Okay.
makes the most sense as far as your work schedule is concerned, Mr. Bravo, and what's good for the boys.
Copy that.
And of course, they
Yeah,
need to be in
I
school
usually
when they're
have.
supposed to be in school.
Yeah, I usually have during the week they give me like the days off, so I usually get 3 days off, and so just have to check the schedule for that specific. Because I'm kind of like a fill-in in my position right now, and so whenever they need me, they fill me in. It's not a consistent schedule, so yeah,
Okay. So a Kansas visit potentially the last weekend of October, a Kansas visit potentially the first part of Thanksgiving break when he has off work, and then a California visit as written by the order. And anything beyond that, there's a stay on the order.
Which means next year is going to come, and we need to figure out what the long-term plan is going to be here.
yeah.
And
I think the one thing that the previous judge was expressing too is that the boys being moved to Kansas kind of put a little bit of I'm not saying that this, but like it put a little bit more onus on putting the boys in sports activities and creating a schedule where they're consistently busy uh, is great and stuff, but it also constrains my ability to visit with them uh, because they're always being placed in activities. You know, when they were in activities here, I was actually coaching them in soccer, coached them in football, coached them in various sports, basketball, you name it. And I was always in attendance at their sports activities and stuff. Um, but now with the situation that it is, it kind of creates a whole different dilemma in that um, Mr. Work is really good at scheduling stuff and putting things on the calendar. But you know, if there's a visit that has to be made, like I think it's more important for the boys to spend time with their dad, especially since the last few years I've been limited to my ability to see these boys. And I hope the court recognizes that as Ben and Sam get older, it's great that they're around their mom, but they also need their father. And I can completely see it when I'm around them. You know, sometimes they don't have the discipline that they should have. They don't. There's just certain things that you pick up from your dad that you won't pick up from your mom and stuff because we're constructed differently. And you know, that's why I think like yeah, it's great that they have soccer. You know, I'm all about sports activities. I'm the biggest sports guy out there. But it also them being in Kansas that does limit. It creates a different dynamic in terms of being able to visit with them and stuff. So
It's a fair point, Mr. Bravo.
yeah,
We're going to set a review hearing in this case in January. Mandy, can you suggest a date? I like the 2 o'clock setting because that's noon in California, right, Mr. Bravo?
right.
Theoretically, if you have to take a lunchtime break to do these hearings, then it maybe would be less disruptive to a work schedule. Is that a fair
Right.
statement?
Yeah, I usually work a 10-hour shift, so yeah, I can take off a little extra time if I need to.
Okay. Well, let's look for a 2 o'clock p.m. setting again, Central Time, 12 Pacific, for early January. Mandy, what could you offer?
January 12th.
Okay. January 12, 2026, 2 o'clock p.m. This court will review the status of parenting time orders.
January 12th at 2 p.m.
Correct. Our time. 12 noon, Mr. Bravo's time. And I hope everything goes smoothly when it comes to Dad's visits between now and then. But go ahead and get this October thing locked down as soon as you can, Mr. Bravo, because that's going to come up real quick here.
I will.
And apparently the last week of October is going to work. So if you can maybe focus on that time period and get some quality time with your boys.
Absolutely. Love that.
All right.
And then at the review hearing, will that be, I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around Kansas terms versus having been in California courts for a long time. Is that a space to present evidence and witnesses regarding a path forward? Are we just having a conversation?
That's not what the court contemplates. I'm not contemplating a trial of any kind or even an evidentiary hearing. What the court wants to do in January is determine what's happened since this case has been under Kansas jurisdiction and where we need to go forward from there. And the court would perhaps make some modification orders as the court has today. Or if necessary, I can set a trial date then if there's really some serious contested matter that needs to be set for hearing at that time. So it's a
Okay.
non-evidentiary hearing that the court contemplates on January the 12th.
Okay. And then if I were, or if either one of us were to want to have some sort of legal representation, would that be a space where they would come
Yes.
to that then?
Well, I encourage both of you being represented by Kansas legal counsel, but
Okay.
so far you've proceeded pro se in the Kansas court system. So
Correct.
yes, you're both welcome and encouraged to have legal counsel representing you at any and all hearings in this court.
And then is there anything that, now that the case is here, is there any additional documentation or things that need to be filed in order to give you kind of a background or a history of what has transpired up to this point that has affected the decision-making up until now?
Well, the court is quite aware of the content of the last two California orders that were issued in that state. The court has currently, as part of its file, the existing California decree. As far as the court's concerned, I'm less interested in what has gone on in the past, but rather what's going on now and where we need to go in the future.
Perfect. Yeah, the only reason I asked is because I had a conversation with the California court clerk regarding transferring documents, and I was very confused by their response. And so that's why I was like, I just don't know what to do here.
It's not a venue transfer where we take the whole file and move it to another court. This is a transfer of child custody jurisdiction from an existing California case to an existing Kansas case. I have what I need to go forward.
Perfect.
I don't need any more documents from California.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to confirm.
Not at this point. So, all right.
All right.
Benjamin, anything further at this time?
Yeah, the only thing is, I'm not really sure, but sometimes I do have trouble accessing the boys on Zoom from time to time, and I do reach out to Mr. O'Rourke about trying to reschedule and stuff, but Mr. O'Rourke doesn't want to reschedule that sometimes. So, not sure if the court can make an adjustment to where, like,
how often is that supposed to be taking place?
It happens pretty frequently where Mr. O'Rourke is traveling with the boys.
Well, I'm just asking, does the court order address Zoom visits?
Yeah, it is. It addresses the Zoom meetings. You know, like I'm supposed to visit with them on Mondays and Tuesdays from, I forget the time. I think it's like 3:30 my time or something, and 5:30 the boys time. I'm not really. I don't remember.
Why don't we do that later?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to, because my schedule, my work schedule, like I said, is just like all over the place. And, you know, when I try to reach out to the boys, it becomes a little difficult trying to get in contact with them because Ms. Rourke won't make them available, or they don't have their cell phone or whatever it may be.
Well, Mr. Bravo, according to the order, you have a right to insist on 2 times a week, Monday and Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, which would be 8:30 p.m. here.
Right.
The order specifically says if you don't agree on something else, that's the rule.
Right.
Monday and Tuesday.
What I was trying to tell the judge before, that my work schedule is kind of like it changes from week to week. It's not the same.
Oh, I see.
Like,
you're not always available
Monday,
6:30 at 6:30?
Yeah, sometimes like I'll work from like 2:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Monday. Sometimes, like this upcoming Monday, I'll work from 12 to 1 in the morning, and you know, the next Monday I might have Monday off. It just like varies. Just depends on the work schedule for that week.
Well, I think 30 minutes 2 times a week isn't very much. I would just expect Monica to work with you on that, but just communication. You know, if you make a reasonable request to move your Zoom visit to some other time in the week when you're off work and available, that makes sense to me that you do that.
Absolutely.
I don't want your boys to think you don't care about them.
Right. Which I do try to reach out to Mr. Rourke, but sometimes she'll say the boys are not available for visit.
But they're not going to stay up until 1:30 p.m. Pacific time to visit with you either.
No, absolutely. I don't ask that either.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable timing and stuff. I don't ask them to do other things, do things they're not supposed to.
Again, Your Honor, I would just state that the boys are made available for Zoom visitation. I am very accommodating to changing the Zoom visitation schedule very regularly, and all of the communication regarding Zoom visitations and the kids' availability. And when Mr. Bravo shows up for the visitations and also when he doesn't show up for the visitations is all recorded in the Talking Parents record. So I would love to have this issue addressed again in a space where that type of evidence can be presented so that these types of allegations that are being made can be shown to be false. The boys do see him on Zoom. I do work with him in his work schedule all of the time to change Zoom times. There are times when on our side things come up and we have to change the schedule. The boys are made available. The boys have a phone. They are also teenagers and don't necessarily keep it charged, keep it on them, have it all the time. It's a kid safe phone, so they're not on the internet and they're not on their phone like some kids are, where they're constantly using their phone. But his ability to communicate with the children anytime outside of Zoom, text and call has never been limited. The only thing I request is that, obviously while Sam is at school, he doesn't have any devices with him. While Ben does his schooling here at home, I still don't allow him to have devices. He's supposed to be working on his schoolwork during the day, but other than that, he has access and they can communicate, and I have encouraged that communication. So I would, and they are available for Zoom. And I work with them on making sure that they're available for Zoom and trying to figure out scheduling, trying to find times that work for everyone. And all of the evidence is there. There's also, because the Zoom account that we use is a business, it's a pro account. So Zoom also tracks all of the meeting attendance. So as additional evidence of when Zooms happen, there is the backup of the actual Zoom logs that show when he has attended Zooms with the kids.
Again, we're going forward from here. Mr. Bravo, stay regularly involved with your boys the way you're supposed to, and then I'll expect Monica to accommodate it. Okay?
Probably.
All right. Good luck in having everything work smoothly between now and the end of the year.
Thank you, sir.
All right. If there's nothing further at this time, this matter will currently be in recess. This meeting may be ended for all.